Hi there everybody, it's Rarity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making tutorial. We are going to be using the Forever Florals dies today. Isn't this pretty? Because we've got this lovely great big detailed die with the little centre bit as a separate element, and then we've got these great shapes and some little bits and pieces to go with it too. So yeah, we're going to be using this today to create our card, and this is the sample I've already made. So there we go. The colours were quite muted down there, but if I bring that up, you can see we've got the pink and the yellow coming through in the background, and a little bit of soft sea foam. Okay, and I've used Lost Lagoon for the sentiment. Okay, so we're going to show you how to make this lovely background and apply this to our card. Okay, so first of all, I just want to sort of show you that this is this is huge. Okay, but it doesn't have an outside cutting edge. Okay, so it will cut into the cardstock. So this border around the edge, okay, is determined by how big your cardstock is. So could trim it down a little bit and make it narrower, but I'm just making it fill the card. It is a little short for a UK A2 or half A4, so I've just clipped off a 1/4 inch off the bottom of my panels and my card base just to make it a bit more proportional. Okay, so it's a huge die, and then I've got this central one. Okay, so that's, again, it's nice size, sort of fits in the palm of your hand, nice. And that's what this cuts out. Isn't that gorgeous? So we'll be doing something with that in a minute. And then I'm using these two dies. Okay, and these two nest together quite nicely as well. And the cute thing about these is when they cut, we also get this lovely embossed detail as well around the edge, and as you can see, they stack together quite nicely there. Okay, so we're going to colour the bigger one, leave the top one white so that we can stamp on it. Okay, so let's do some stuff. So I've already die cut this, but we need to die cut this. But before we do, we are going to colour the cardstock, because rubbing a blending brush over all this delicate stuff might damage it. So we're going to colour the cardstock first. So I'm just going to grab some scrap paper. Where's that gone? There it is. Let's grab this. Doesn't matter what it is, just to protect the surface. Okay, so I did soft sea foam. Well, it looks like soft sea foam. What I actually did was grabbed my blending brushes and any residual ink came off. Okay, so that's actually what I did. So instead of using the light green brush, I'm going to pick out my darker green brush, and we're going to do a little bit of that. Okay, so whatever's on here is what's going on. Okay, so it's a bit of a mix and match of what the colours have been before. This brush I use for like shaded spruce and garden green, so there might be some elements of that in there, but we're keeping it light. We're not going to go really heavy with this colour. Just wanted to use something different, so literally just the edge of that. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to, as I use each of the inks, I'm also going to bring them in onto the panel, this background piece as well. Let's bring that back in. Now we used like pink and yellow on our other card, so I'm going to bring in some purple now. So this has probably had some gorgeous grape on there. Okay, let's do that, and we'll do that on this bit as well. Okay, and we'll bring in some of our blue tones as well. Let's see. So this one's going to be darker. I had some secrecy on this one, so it's going to look completely different. And if you think you've lost a colour in the process, just come back in. So that's going to look completely different to the original sample. So filling in some pieces here and there, overlapping it a little bit. And it doesn't matter that it looks a little bit abstract, messy, whatever the word you want to use. Okay, because once we've die cut everything, you're hardly going to see some of these elements. It's all just going to blend in together. So again, just intensifying that a little bit, so we've got a matching background panel and die cut. Okay, right, we are going to have to do a little bit more ink because we need to colour the leaves, but let's just start doing this first. So I'm going to pop this onto this panel now. So that edge is still going to be there, we're going to keep that edge. So we'll just get that as lined up as we best we can on there. So it's not absolutely even all around the edges. Just slightly more top and bottom than there is left and right, but that's fine. Okay, I'm going to keep that because I'm going to need to pop out all the little bits. Okay, so I'm going to pop this onto the cutting plate and I'm going to put it on at a wonk so that the corner goes through first. And we'll put this, oops, the top plate will go on there, and I'm going to run that through the cutting emboss machine. Okay, so that's going to come out. This central bit will be loose completely, so we'll just pry that away. Okay, probably could punch out of that or something. There'll be loads of little teeny tiny pieces because all those little flower centres pop out, so any little bits need to come off there. So if you have a dye brush, that might be a good thing to use now, but we'll just lift this off. And some of the pieces are going to stay in the dye, which is fine. We can sort that out later off camera. There will be some bits that we probably need to pop out. Okay, so there's loads of bits still stuck in there. We'll just have to poke those out in a bit. Not right now. What we just need to do is just focus on what we've got here. Or you could just leave it. So most of them have come out. I'm just looking to see if there's any like little bits in between the leaves. I'm not going to worry too much about the flower centres. I don't think it matters too much if a few of those stay there. I might just pop out these little bits that are in between the flowers and just make sure there's nothing loose. That'll do. That'll do. So it looks cute, right? With this sort of just see another bit. It's one of these dies that you think you've got them all and then you see another bit that you need to do. Okay, so I'm going to get this stuck onto the card panel because I want to make sure it's nice and dry. On the card panel, this is the card panel, onto the card base is what I meant. Okay, so I've already got the card base. Like I say, I just nipped off just a 1/4 inch. And I'm just going to take some wet glue. I'm going to go around the edge. And then there is a little loose flower that isn't attached to anything there. I'm just going to pop a little dab of glue on because I found that needed a little bit more securing, and then I'm just going to pop just a couple of dabs here and there on the leaves that are towards the centre, but not all of them, just a couple of bits here and there. Okay, so you don't need to plaster the thing in glue, so just a few strategic little bits. And I think it's the same, if you put it upside down, it's the same, if you know what I mean. It's the same top and bottom. So just pop that in, line it up as best you can, just gently press that down. Okay, and then what we can do is we can pop a large block on there. I'm going to grab that big, what is it, an F block? Yeah, F block. That can just sit on top of there and just help that just stay flat just for a couple of minutes whilst we come back to this. So this section, what I just want this to do is just peek out behind the sentiment, but while it's white it's going to sort of blend in a little bit. So I want this to coordinate but stand out, so I'm going to use that brush that I used, and we're going to go over that nice and gently, but we're going to make it a little darker than the background that we did, basically, so that there's a little bit of contrast. And I'm not going to worry if we get a few tears here and there. I'll just go with it. And the flowers aren't going to show, so we're going to leave those as well. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so that's going to go in there, and then on the what we are going to have to do though is die cut some extra leaves. Oh, this scrap of paper will do. Now I want this to be a different colour tone than everything else, so I'm going to come back to this light brush and just pop some of this on. This is probably more lemon lime than anything, and again it's not a perfect blend. I'm gonna pop in some of this dark, just go for it. And you know what, I'm gonna pick up some of this. This will have like Coastal Cabana on it and Summer Splash, so we'll get a different look with this one. And what we're going to have to do is die cut about 5 of these, just so that I've got something to work with. So I'm going to pause it there. I'm going to wind those through and then we'll come back. Okay, and we are back. So this is all nice and dry now as well, so that's all nice and secure. Doesn't that look nice? It's a very different look to the original card. Okay, so what we do need to do is add a sentiment to this. So I've got the thank you from the With You in Mind stamp set. This is in the annual catalogue, and I think this one we'll do in Shaded Spruce, or shall we do navy? Oh, Gorgeous Grape even. Let's do Gorgeous Grape. Change my mind. There we go. Let's do Gorgeous Grape. I think that'd be nice. Okay. So lots of nice light tapping on the ink pad. Beautiful coverage, and then we'll just hover over that and get that stamped. Could stamp then die cut, but I just wanted to sort of do a bit of the die cutting ahead of time so that we weren't waiting for that while we were doing the video. Okay, so that's going to need dimensionals on the back, which I've buried underneath my rhinestones. Let's find some of those. Ooh, I'm going to need some new ones. Oh, right here. Good. It's fine. Right, brand new packet, look at that. So let's pop those on there ready to go. So hang on, and then we want to decorate this with those extra pieces of foliage. Okay, so I'm actually going to have a little think about this first. So on the original sample I popped these over the top of the little detail bit, and I'm just wondering whether we do something different this time, and maybe we do that over there, so you've got the depth, and then we do this. And I think what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to snip this in half. I'm just going to use some great big scissors and just snip it in half. Which means I'll be able to move that closer to the edge, and no one's going to know unless you tell them that that's the case. That looks cool. Let's just make sure it fits on the card. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. Okay, let's construct while we're on the card. Otherwise we won't know how much space we've got. Okay, so on the first one I did this raised up, but let's just do this flat. And pop that in the middle. I'm going to go this way because then there's some sort of contrasting colours on each bit, which I think looks nice. I'm just looking to get that even-ish and straight-ish. Okay, because these are little teeny tiny things, I'm going to use some, again, just dabs of wet glue. You only need enough to secure it. Okay, so just some dabs here and there of that. Apply them in different directions. Similar with this. Now go down there. Along here. Oops. That's why you don't use too much glue. Okay, and down there. And we've got these bits to stick on, so again, just some glue here and there, just to secure it. And then it will be sandwiched in the behind the other thing anyway. So you've got the opportunity now to twizzle that and make it. In fact, I've covered my that blending's been covered a little bit more than I was hoping for. Kind of loses it a little bit, so let's bring that in just a little bit. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so I needed that to be don't know, I feel like we've lost the shape that was behind there. Oh well, never mind. Okay, and again, just a little trick for this. So this is going to be raised up, but it's going over lots of lumpy bumpy stuff. So I've just popped some blobs of liquid glue on there, which gives us opportunity to make sure it's lined up. So that's off to the too far over at the moment, so let's make sure that's straight-ish. Stuff's going to move behind there, I don't mind, it's fine. Okay, well, that's that, and then we just need to add our nice sparkly rhinestones. So let's do that. I don't usually use this tool. My other one's gone walkabout. Right. So I'm going to use 5 of these because odd numbers look good. Okay, just to add some sparkle into the background, and that is our card done. Okay, so completely different feel with the different colours that I've used on this one. So again, I didn't sort of pull out ink pads, I just used residual ink, but generally speaking it's like Gorgeous Grape, Secret Sea, and sort of some shaded spruce or garden green, something like that created the blend on this one. And then this one is probably mostly soft sea foam, a little bit of lemon lolly or even daffodil delight, and a bit of some bubble bath on there just to give this soft pink colour. And it's Lost Lagoon that I used for the sentiment on this one. Okay, so there's 2 cards with the Forever Florals dies. Okay, just to create these wonderful detailed backgrounds. Okay, hope that's given you some ideas on how to use this set anyway. Thanks ever so much for watching. Do stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.